Well, everybody, we're 200 Vinland Saga chapters in, and we've assembled the crew to talk. We're actually doing not a mission statement. What do you call these things? Where you reflect on things. Jarkey Bacon, you know the word I'm looking for, right?
No, what?
EliteAri.
Retrospective.
That's close.
I don't know what you're talking
reminiscing.
What does Nate call the Kingdom Hearts videos,
recap.
Bacon?
I don't know.
State of the Union, I think. We're doing Vinland Saga State of the Union now. We're reflecting on all 200 chapters in totality and talking about their strength. And no, we're not. We're just talking about the 200th chapter, which I guess was kind of big or something. It was kind of, it's just a number, right?
And people were like, oh, guys, 200 is going to be massive. 100 is like this, 200 is like this. And I was like, dude, they're just going to continue the plot. As long as it didn't spoil what my next video is going to be about, and it didn't ruin it all, I'm happy. Which I think you guys know the title of the video, but I've been pretty secret about it.
I don't recall if I was once told.
Yeah, I don't actually remember.
Okay, well,
Bacon's a lie.
If you go back to the list I sent, it's the top one. It's the first one.
Oh, I remember the list.
Asterisks on it.
But I don't remember the first one. But anyway, so Bacon, it was better than chapter 100?
Every chapter is better than chapter 100, Carl. We've gone over this. But yeah.
Well, actually...
You can't get much worse than chapter 100 in Vinland Saga.
Well, actually,
is that a hot take?
Well, I was trying to do a fake-out hot take, but you cut me off twice. I was going to say, actually, I think it was worse. But now I don't have the gusto anymore.
Our chemistry. If we were in person, this chemistry would be amazing.
Bacon's obsessed with persons and peoples and being in person, chat. So at any point, he'll bring it up.
It is amazing. It is goated.
But it definitely would be better. I'm not denying that. But do we want to do overall thoughts? Jarkey Bacon, start us off with overall thoughts with some specifics.
This is a continuation of what was expected. I think I was surprised that Hild seems to, but in Hild ways, she seems to actually want to kill him, but in some ways her conscience gets in the way of actually killing them. So
where have I seen that before?
It was interesting. I also think Ivar and Sturk were revealed much more in these last few chapters, which I think was interesting. But it also reminds me that Vinland Saga chapters will get even more painful from here on out. Not because of any of the contents, but because it'll be more action, meaning these pages fly even faster. And 20 pages do not feel... Yeah, we hate action here. It took me like T-2 seconds to read this, okay? It was... But it was very good as always. I very much enjoyed it. Art was spectacular as well. Yukimura scrapping this, didn't publish last month because he didn't like the art on it. He was like, I'm the worst artist ever on Twitter. And we all know that's a lie. But I'm glad he'd rather put out good art than bad art. So there we go.
Hold on. Speaking of bad art, EliteAri, what did you think? I don't even know what that means. What does that mean? EliteAri, you're bad at art.
I have no idea. Well, okay, well...
Oh, it was an AI art reference because he likes
Man
AI.
As well. I don't know.
Oh, yes, it could be that.
Yeah.
God, it's layered. I'm just so good. I don't even realize my brilliance.
We've got our AI art stand right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone listening, I love it. You can't. I want you to fight me, all right? Give me a good argument why it's bad. You can't find one. It's impossible. Yeah, Vinland Saga, it's great. This chapter was good. It actually felt very long. Maybe it is because I'm reading Chainsaw Man. Those are always just tiny every week. But
how long are those pages? Like how many pages?
It feels like 10 pages or something. I don't know. It feels.
Oh, because
it takes like a minute to read.
It's
and the art is probably a bit less detailed, so you don't like
sick bacon. I don't know what you're talking about.
Kind of looking at it more.
I think it's significantly less detailed, but I prefer that art. It's the Chainsaw Man art is my favorite art in any manga, but definitely nowhere near as detailed as Vinland Saga.
Yeah. Detailed doesn't mean necessarily good, but if you want to like
read into background details, etc.
Yeah, you can kind of gaze at it a bit longer. Yeah. Maybe try and get more.
Definitely.
Spend more time just looking at it. So.
Say something else while I count these
Vinland Saga is the best art. It's unbelievable. Berserk, it's pretty good, but Vinland Saga art, sheesh, my guy.
Yep. Love those faces, love those hands.
Yeah, love those faces, love those hands, love the fabrics. This is what it is kind of funny. Like, reading Yukimura's previous work, he still has like for the last 25 years, for the whole 25 years, there's a couple of faces which appear and again, and Iva has one of these in the chapter, which I think is always quite funny. Oh, that's a Yukimura face right there. So Yukimura expression. So gotta love it.
Well, I can report back in that the latest Chainsaw Man chapter had 18 pages. Thank you. I counted them myself. And that was counting the double page spread as 2 instead of 1, which I think is acceptable.
Okay. It's crazy.
That's acceptable, I think. Yeah.
It did feel way shorter, though. But this prick likes to have a lot of pages without dialogue and stuff. So, you know, things come, things go. Anyway.
Yeah.
What did I think? I don't know. It was pretty good, you know. Hylde was going to kill him. That was pretty cool. She was pretty cool. Iva and Stork, so cute. Lamau, they don't even hate people or want to be bad.
They are cute. They are adorable.
Oh, and then Stork fucking died, Kyle. Bro. She killed him, but then she didn't. That was crazy.
Did he?
I did fall for it for like a second.
Head. Right.
Dude, like no that shot. Must be a pretty bad helmet. I mean, I don't know, actually. I guess, like, the crossbows are, like, way more overpowered in this than they are in real life.
Yeah, because Hylde's the only one with one, right? She invented it.
Yeah, so like it's like like maybe it's just a weak helmet. I was kind of hoping it would fall off. I'm still waiting for the big schnoz reveal. We haven't seen the nose.
No, yeah.
He looks pretty adorable in some of these pictures. When he's apologizing to Iva, is very adorable. He looks like a lost puppy. I mean, look, how is this the same guy as last chapter? It's impossible.
We can't. The helmet can't fall off, Bacon, because then we would find out that it's Garm. You know?
Yeah, of course.
That'd be crazy.
Dunk.
EliteAri, were you around for the Garm memes or not?
I've heard it before. I don't know if it was live.
I've probably said on here before.
Yeah, I definitely have.
I think it could be Askeladd, right?
All the time.
It could be Askeladd. That's true.
Yeah.
It could be Askeladd. Yeah,
EliteAri has some crazy theories sometimes, you know. He thinks people are time traveling despite nobody ever indicating as such. Thinks
well, in this manga there actually is time travel. It's crazy.
Maybe. Spiritual time travel, maybe. But nonetheless, that was a crazy Chainsaw Man reference. You don't get it, Bacon. It's okay.
No. I'm in the loop.
Huh?
Good.
Explain it then.
So basically, there's this guy, and he's called the Time Devil. It's the Past Devil. And everybody's scared of the past because it's going to come back and haunt them. You know, the Future Devil is very powerful, but the Past Devil has a different kind of ways doing stuff. And people, you know, they see these two characters and they look kind of the same. And they're like, oh, maybe.
No, what's worse is they don't even look the same at all. But he still thinks they're the same thing.
Actually coming together. Okay, to be fair, I just remember getting confused over two characters, and I just assumed that's what people were talking about because they're like the same or something.
No, but some old dude and some young dude, and EliteAri is just a domey, a big dumb fuck. Anyway,
I mean, just wait and see. You'll see. You'll all see.
So that was my overall thoughts I added. Nice. And now's the part where we go chronologically. The hand that shook Thorfinn's lifts a weapon in the whiffs a weapon in the name of Whis. Crazy! What a title.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not the title, right?
No, that's the little editor's thingy-mabob. The one at the end's more interesting.
I will say, I don't like Hilde's face in this, but it's very cool.
Her face looked a little different throughout the whole chapter, right? Because she's evil.
Maybe. I don't know, it's just like, it's very simplified and her eye looks very big. But I also really enjoy, like, basically the shift of how Yukimura draws her when she's not angry. Like, in, like, previous chapters, there was a highlight on her non-scarred eye, and now the scarred eye is in almost every single shot of her, the main eye you focus on. And that's a fun little method of drawing her. Always got to like that. Small little detail.
Now, where were we at last time? What was Thorfinn doing last time? He was told that Hylde was mad, and so he's run off to her house.
Carly was like,
yes.
Hilde was not very happy.
She was very mad, yes. So Thorfinn runs over, and then he thinks that she's... Well, then he talks himself out of thinking that she's actually gone crazy and going to kill some people, but then he hears a scream in the woods. Kind of undercuts any tension that we could have had that they were actually going to die, but who cares?
Yeah, that's true. As soon as you see this, you're like, oh, Thorfinn's gonna get there. But I guess the new tension is like, what's gonna happen when Thorfinn gets there?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, the big reveal that.
And to be fair, the resolution was something, because I think last time we all said like, oh, it's kind of obvious what's gonna happen. But the resolution of Hild like leaving for a little while wasn't something I saw coming. So at least that was
yeah, like
a little unpredictable.
Her game has been found out. Instead of like talking it through, she's still going through with it, which had a few people be like, "Oh, this is out of Hild's character" and all this stuff on the Reddits and stuff. So I thought it was interesting.
These fucking Redditors,
yeah.
you know?
And then yeah.
Well, Bacon, you're the Hild expert. Was it out of character?
When people talk about things being out of character, I think you have to more think about it. What new information does it give you about this character? And it's like, you don't know someone like a character completely, and they can still. I think it's within the range of decisions she would make. It wasn't something I necessarily expect, but that's not a bad thing. It's like similar when people are like, oh, Thorkel not fighting Thorfinn after Gudrid beats him up is like that's bad character writing. You know, that's not what Thorkel would do. I'm like, well, actually, that gives you more information about Thorkel's character and what he, that actually gives him more depth of character. So I think, I think it works. Basically,
that's just some fucking copium because they wanted to see the fight. My goodness.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't at any point think it was out of character. EliteAri, what was your read? Do you think it was out of character, ruined Vinland Saga?
Well, I feel like I say this every time, and maybe this is a thing because when I read weekly, I can't come to conclusions. But to me, I feel like we haven't learned anything about Hild whatsoever because I can't tell if she genuinely tried to attack them and kill them, or if this was all part of her plan and she just wanted to scare them to take down the fort, and now she's going to do the same to Misek Pikwer or something.
That's a good point. Like, she may not be actually trying to kill them because, yeah, like she could have just. I mean, presumably she missed her shot on Ivor before. I think that's the big thing. Did she miss on purpose, or was she aiming for the forehead and just missed? Now we do know. I don't think we've known Hild to ever miss a shot before.
Yeah, it's a conscious.
I can't think of a time she missed a shot. And so I don't know. Like, I was not dodging that.
Yeah, I think it's a conscious thing of like she nearly killed him. But like she doesn't actually want to because she can't actually go through with it. Now,
and she could have killed Sturk as well, but she hits him the top of the helmet. Like, maybe that's only the part of the helmet she can see.
She narrowly misses twice. Not likely.
Yeah, and then she also. I mean, to be fair, Sturk and Ganglati are different because she's trying to get Ivor to stand up so she can shoot him, and then she kind of looks like she's. Is she like stand up straight? I'm not having a look early on, but like she is genuinely trying to. No, I think she is genuinely trying to kill him. Actually, that's what. Okay, I'm going with this point. This is my strength.
Well, it's sort of a conflict of like, well, the narrative wants us, and by the narrative, obviously, I mean like in a meta sense. Obviously, we're supposed to be on the edge of our seats, being like, "Kyle, don't kill him. That's bad." And so when it narrowly misses, and especially the Sturk fake out, it's supposed to be like. Big tension, big release of almost like, she just missed. She's still okay. She ain't killed nobody yet. Even when she hits old mate in the fucking leg, he ain't gonna die. But yeah. So sort of from the meta sense. So it's sort of that clashing with sort of the character stuff of like her narrowly missing. Is it her conscience again? Just like with Thorfinn on the fucking the first time they saw each other, and her master manifesting and her dad, etc. It's probably going to be played as that in the future, where she sort of couldn't go through with it. The interesting thing is, though, that she's running to the old native dude to do the same thing, and it would be odd if we just had the exact same scenario play out, and Thorfinn isn't chasing after her to stop her in that instance. So, I still don't think she'll kill him, but, like, I'm unsure how this resolves.
Yeah, because like, the reason why I think she probably was trying to kill Ivor, which in turn, I mean, does lead to questions like, well, what if she kills Ivor? There's like this one point when Ivor's like, "Oh, if you kill me, like, do you think you can go back to your comrades?" And it kind of sounds like, no, she'll kill Ivor and then just disappear. Like she just leaves.
Yeah.
and then she'll have to just like deal with the guilt of killing someone by herself, basically, being a murderer. Because then like Thorfinn turns up, and then she seems to enact her compromise of just scaring him enough to get him to take down the fort, not necessarily like shoot him and be like turn down the like, otherwise she would have gone straight away. She would have missed, and then before Thorfinn turned up, then said it. But it seems like she's mad that Thorfinn ruined her initial plan by joining the situation. So yeah.
I think initially, because there is sort of a build-up throughout the chapter of her sort of escalating violence. So, like, the first page, like, when you see that, like, Sturk is, like, actually kind of stabbed, like, 6 times, it's kind of like, oh, that's going a little far. Which was interesting. But then, again, the shot in the leg is another sort of escalation of violence where it's like, oh, she might fucking do it. Now she doesn't. And I don't know if I ever actually really bought that she did. But it is a clever little bit of escalation throughout the chapter. Neat. We kind of just talked about it all, huh? What little details are there in here? You remember any, Bacon?
I think there's the key one is Ivor's.
Him and
bring up the fact that him and Sturk kind of. Yeah, I think this is the big thing where like Hild. Interestingly, I made a big have to make my obligatory tweet after a chapter comes out. But like constantly, every single time we do this discussion, I feel like I talk about it. Where it's like, who's the most dangerous man? I think for a long time we've known it was the shaman. Shaman's one of these people who hate war, but will still start a war because of it. And then we also thought that Sturk and Ivor, well, not Ivor, but Sturk could fulfill this because he kind of talks about men being scared of war, and we want to, the people who are scared of war may, then build these walls and stuff. And so, it's like a twist on it. And now we've actually got a woman, the most dangerous woman, which is Hild, who is willing to commit violence to stop greater violence, which is, well, maybe she's not trying to start a war, like in Canute or the shaman. She is trying to prevent it. And then Sturk is kind of revealed not to be this, because they just seem like they just have never experienced war. Like, I think that's kind of what they've said. They're like, like Ivor says, like, oh, I love war. Not love. I just admire it, which makes a lot more sense because he's probably never experienced it. So he can only look at it like he's never been like, oh, I've fought in a battle and I really love it. And he's more like, oh, I like the idea of war. I like the idea of, being a real leader and all this stuff. And he has this grand image of what being in war looks like for a man and this honorable side of it. A very like rosy view of it.
Yeah, I think thematically this is kind of interesting. I only just put this together now. Is that this arc and sort of its test for pacifism, I guess, is sort of the wider ethical questions of sort of small violence in order to prevent larger violence and how to deal with that. Because seemingly, Vinland Saga is kind of saying that all violence is not okay, but that's not really the case because Thorfinn did fight people and fight Garm and knock out those guards and break some of their arms or whatever to prevent killing. So there's clearly an escalation of sort of like self-defense is okay as long as you don't kill somebody. Which you can sort of make arguments that everything everybody's doing here is kind of self-defense in the way of Hild wants to kill the warmongers on each side to protect herself, but also everybody in the 2 clans or the 2 villages. And then Sturk was also very... It's almost like the Baltic Sea War is all about the performance of sort of masculinity in sort of the Viking time of sort of like people who almost don't understand or are too dumb to understand war and they just want to vengeance, kill each other, etc., or seek glory through war. Whereas Sturk is very practical about why like the fort is necessary. Like, yeah, so what? He's not like a macho man afraid to admit that he's like scared, and that's why people actually fight wars or build walls. He's sort of honest with it, and it's sort of seeing through the performance and trying to get at sort of these more fundamental questions of like, is pacifism actually going to lead to more violence by inaction or things like that? Which is kind of hard to see how we're going to get to the end where pacifism is good. But yeah.
I think the key difference in these situations, and I think this is probably what the distinction that Yukimura is trying to make, because as you say, the shaman fits into that quite well. You know, he's all these people are trying to take action to prevent more violence in the future.
Yeah. Which is not what Thor tells somebody would do.
Yeah, he's literally seen the future, so he's starting smaller violence, just a little bit of violence to get these Norse off their shores, and then they'll be fine, because then we'll avoid future decimation of all their people, you know, which makes a lot of sense. But where Thorfinn is different, and in the Baltic Sea War, is that Thorfinn's self-defense is always reactionary, and now this is a bit different for Thorfinn.
It's proactive,
but he's always, this is proactive defense, expecting there to be violence. And if anything, Ivar's and Sturk's way is the most sensible, because they're just building a wall. It's not like, sure, it kind of talks about the mentality that they're expecting to be suspicious of everybody, which is not a good thing. But they're not being aggressive. They're being very defensive. While Hilwood, on the other hand, and the shaman are being very aggressive in what they're doing. But then Thorfinn is also like, no, we wait for the violence to happen, and then we have to act in self-defense.
Yeah.
While everybody else is like, well, when the violence happens, it will be too late. We need to stop it before it starts. And I think that's the key difference between where Thorfinn's at compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
In the Saga.
Yeah.
So.
Because Thorfinn's first response is, well, final response really is to run away rather than fight. So, and the specific instances where he had to fight in the Baltic Sea War arc were when it was made specifically evident that they couldn't run away because somebody was held hostage, or I forget the exacts of those specific examples.
Or Gram's just too fast and you can't literally run away.
Yeah.
You'll always catch up. So I think there's a lot to that, and like even last chapter, Aina brings up the fact that, oh, what happens if we can't run away? I've spent a lot of time making my bloody field, mate. I don't want to leave everything behind.
Yeah.
It's not easy just to start all over again. You know, and Thorfinn kind of says, no, there won't be war. We won't have to run. We'll discuss stuff. We'll talk things out. We'll talk no jutsu, and it'll work. That's very stubbornly. That's what he says. So it's interesting. It's I mean, you know, the plot and the characters are fun and all, but it's interesting, perhaps more so, to see how Yukimura kind of builds and clarifies what he's talking about, because this whole idea of the most dangerous man is not too different to a true warrior. Like, the true warrior is, you know, a true warrior uses no sword, you know, and you have no enemies, and we all kind of read that and we're like, okay, that makes sense, but what do you actually mean by that? And then Yukimura goes on to explain throughout the rest of the manga what he means by that. Yeah. And with this arc, he's done a similar thing with the most dangerous man. It's like Thorfinn, in some high, airy-fairy abstract terms, explains what the most dangerous man is, and we're all kind of like, okay, I kind of get your gist, but like, what do you actually mean by that? And now we're getting to the point where we're finding out what Yukimura means by that, and that's what, like, for me at least, brings a lot of the fun reading this monthly.
Yeah, fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. Virtuous violence is interesting. Fuck, what the hell was I gonna say? EliteAri, you got anything to say about any of this?
I don't know if it's directly related, but you brought up about how you can't imagine this having a pacifist ending or something, or how this is all going to lead to saying pacifism good. I think like a very good one way to do it would be to not have a pacifist ending, but have an ending of like, if we were pacifist, then good things would have happened. Like ending with like, what could have been, like where you'll have this big like climactic scene, and it'll be two characters and they'll be talking about, we can do this and this and this, and all you have to do is like step down or something, but then they don't step down and it like leads to the bad ending. I don't know. And that could be like an endorsement of pacifism.
I don't know. I feel like the tone even now is like still pretty light for us to have a bad ending. But I remembered what I was going to say real quick was sort of how this is sort of the chapter where it's most seemed like Sturk and what's his name? Ivar. That's his name. I thought I said Aina again.
Yeah.
They seem like the most reasonable now that they know like how serious Hild is about it, and they seem like they could be reasoned with, and it seems like we're veering in the direction where it's too late almost. Which is interesting, but yeah.
So what was Ivar gonna do here? You know, when he learned the knowledge from Sturk, and he's like, he said something, didn't he? Let me have a look.
Oh, I gotta fucking get moved
forward. Oh yeah, he
learned. Said, all right then, for now. ...
Oh, this is a good point. So it's like, um, I think it's because like this is part of the interesting thing about both of them is that they've kind of misunderstood each other. Like Sturk
Yeah.
has clarified himself not to be villainous, and we know now Sturk's motivation is to support his brother Ivor in his aspirations. And Sturk makes this assumption of what Ivor wants to do. Like Sturk makes this assumption that because Stoke doesn't really hasn't experienced war, he's like, oh, Ivor wants to use this violence, despite there will be no war, to kind of start a war and proxy that into him becoming the leader of the Vinland colony as like a more political angle, trying to get control. But Ivor says he doesn't want war to happen. He doesn't want to be the cause of war explicitly, and so they just had this miscommunication of what each other want, and now they have this kind of heart to heart because they're in this situation where stuff gets revealed, and then on top of that, like we've got the whole Hild situation, which is a different thing, but that kind of helps escalate it at the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's interesting. Like here, it kind of suggests that Ivor's kind of understood some stuff, and maybe he doesn't change his mind on the wall, but he's realized that he is causing the likelihood of violence to increase by his actions. Like, so he still believes that him defending Thorfinn was the right idea. Like to cut the shaman's hand off, he doesn't have any remorse for that. But yeah, it's interesting like that. And then, on the page I sent, he has this very classic Yukimura pout, like Thorfinn had it in the prologue. Hild's had it in her early stuff as well. Like this annoying, like this mouth shape where he's like really annoyed. Yeah, but then so they seem like they're going to be reasoned with, and they're probably going to take down the wall, which is interesting because it is Hild's plan B, but this is like almost an endorsement of like against Thorfinn not showing that he's the strongest. Like, like Hild's just showed I could kill you at any point. You do what I want you to do, and you take down that wall. Like that's against the message what Yukimura is going for, and that's like the whole point of why Thorfinn doesn't reveal his violence, so he doesn't feel like he's pressuring people to agree with him because he is the strongest. But that's exactly what Hild's done, and it's the most effective tactic. Oh well, we'll see if Ivor does do it.
I think
maybe Thorfinn's like, don't take that. Maybe Thorfinn's like, don't take down the wall. I'll go confront Hild or something like that. I don't know.
I think what might happen is they take down the wall and then they get attacked. And then it's like, oh, see, if we had the wall, it would have been better. And then Hild has sort of a crisis, and then Thorfinn sort of has to pick up the pieces or something. I still don't see that tribe doing it. And the bad guy tribe is far away, and I always try to bring it up, but then you're always like, nope, that's like a whole island away. They ain't coming.
Yeah, they're really far away. Yeah, this is another thing. I don't like. We've not been. This is the thing. Is like, how much longer is Vinland Saga going to go on? Because if they start introducing other tribes, which makes a lot of sense because they do exist, I think that would be really interesting, and that add a lot of political
intrigue,
complexity to the situation. But we may be wrapping this up in as little as 10 chapters, which I don't think you could do. Maybe you could do, but like, that's 200 pages. Like, that's not much for Yukimura to make a whole out war. So if
there has to be at least one, right? One other tribe, like the people are missing.
Yeah, well, exactly. We don't know what happened to them. I feel like, things are. I feel like we're still building up, despite the fact that Yukimura was like, we are 95% of the way through in the manga. So, yeah, who knows? Maybe Vinland Saga will have a worse ending than Attack on Titan, which, I mean, according to you guys, is probably likely to happen, right? You can't beat Attack on Titan's ending, so that's not a bad thing.
I
don't know. Who knows? Rushed ending.
We have to see how it all plays out. My goodness.
Yeah.
What else is there here? We got shot in the leg. We got shot in the ear. We're complaining that it hurts. He says fuck and calls Hild a bitch a bunch. That's not nice.
Yeah, that is like the most Ivan reaction. I quite likes it, and he's like, she's serious. That woman is really trying to kill me. It's kind of like this weird like gendered thing where he's like, a woman's gonna kill me. Like, I kind of like. I think that's kind of
another gendered thing was when he was like trying to bait her to fight him. Like, you're a coward. You got to come out here and like dumb man will come out and fight, show honor. But Hyle is down for that. Another thing here is it sort of confirms Sturk's selflessness, especially when it comes to Ivar, the other brother, presumably, where he's like, no, don't stand up, we'll just, you don't die, we'll die, or whatever, which is cute.
I think it's also like Sturk's realized in a way that like Ivar's the face. If Ivar dies, like, yeah, then there's, of course, like they care about each other the most, but Sturk realizes that Hilda's only trying to kill Ivar. That's the main thing. He's the one that she's gunning for.
Yeah.
Which maybe a bit of a leap in logic, but like after these events, it's very clear because Hild says, "Oh, you gotta stand up, otherwise your mates are gonna die, Ivar, and I'm gonna shoot you." So yeah.
And then after that, we get the cool framing with the leaves and stuff, and it's just Ivar, and she's got the little shot lined up, but then Thorfinn shows up, and she says shit, like she's mad. But yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, she's angry.
And Thorfinn also reading the situation of like, well, it's all over now because I'm here, and you didn't want me to know about this, Lamau. He read the situation. That was cute.
I'm also a big fan of this. Ivar getting shot at Thorfinn's there. This little like little
and then he initially is like, I knew you were in on this too, and it's like, Lamau, what a silly fella. What a dumb meathead.
Silly fella. Our favorite meathead.
Yes. Another cute little detail is that Thorfinn is yelling the wrong direction, and Hal gets up when like over in this direction. She's so good at hiding.
It is.
But yeah.
It's nice how they portray her voice as like echoing, like she's like this haunting ghost that's surrounding you, and she just gets up and she's got her hood on. She's like, and then you see the next one is like her eyes, her hood's covering up partly one of her eyes, and then she turns away and it's still the scarred eye. That's what I was kind of talking about earlier with Hild and her framing of her eyes and stuff. And then the final page is like a very direct mirroring of the shaman running through the forest at the end of another chapter.
It reminded me of something, but I didn't know exactly what. But she who hates war, which has been repeated in these editor notes over and over, with all of her heart and loves peace with all of her heart, makes a choice. Next time, what is Thorfinn feeling? Oh, Thorfinn's so sad. But yeah. There was also
we need more.
Yeah, not a weird, but an interesting statement when she's like, "For Thorfinn's sake, I will grant a stay of execution," which is interesting. Now, I don't know how much we should read into like the linguistics, especially after it's been translated, etc. But like, it seems like she feels like she's sort of doing state violence if she's like execution, like they have to pay for their crimes against them. Yeah, it's interesting, huh?
And I mean that kind of goes into the like I saw a comment that like Hild's the secret police. She's the KGB. Like she'll execute all dissidents and all this stuff. I think. But I mean, what you bring up is the main point of what Hild's kind of doing and what Thorfinn has been lacking. What Thorfinn is doing with Vinland, he doesn't have any police. He doesn't have any.
He has no state
enforceable.
Violence.
No state law. Like there's no way to enforce the law. Ivar's still got a sword. No one's punished him for it, despite him explicitly breaking the rules. And this is like something that Thorfinn talked about with Halfdan. It's kind of like as citizens, we give up certain rights. Not that we had the choice, because people before us gave up those rights, but governments have the monopoly on violence. They are able to use the police force, use the army to control the population if they need to, right? That's how they enforce their laws, right? Because they have
all laws at the end of the day.
Which is what Halfdan,
are enforcing state violence, because if you get fined for speeding but you don't pay the fine, and then you don't show up in court, then the police come, and If you don't go with the police, they run in and they drag you out. And then if you try to fight the police, well, that's not going to end well, son. So it's everything, no matter what, is at the end of the day, down the line, enforced by state violence. And Thorfinn has done. Yeah. And because Ivar's got the sword, you could say, oh, nobody can touch him. He's got the fucking sword, but Thorfinn could beat him up real quick, but he doesn't want to. So yeah,
and I think that kind of goes back to like reading Farmland. This is like what Snake tries to be. He tries to be the enforcer of justice. You know, when the kids steal, he's the one there being like, okay, my guards found this kid stealing. We need a punishment for the violent. And they punish with violence, but like there needs to be punishment to what you do. This is the same thing with Halfdan. Halfdan, you know, controls the population through his violence, and this is what him and Thorfinn talk about. But Thorfinn just doesn't want to do that because that's against his principles, which is just like it can only work in this small situation, which is what last chapter talked about. You know, like with having less people, you can kind of do that. But we are seeing where I love, and this is what I love about the tension of it, is like, oh, you know, it's a classic, like every Vinland Saga fan is like, why isn't Thorfinn fighting? And then we have to think, oh, of course we know why Thorfinn isn't fighting, but why isn't Thorfinn fighting? Yeah. Like, why doesn't he just beat up Ivar and show him that, you know, like he's stronger? But then that just goes against the whole point, this is the fun part of Vinland, I find, like, where it's like, it turns your own feelings against you. So, and that's why Attack on Titan is great as well. Love it.
Yep.
I love Bizarre.
I'm gonna make a shout out to one of my favorite Carl videos, one of the early ones that made me fall in love with the channel, which was the Sergeant Gross, I think it was. What a character! Fella. So good. I love the meta.
That was an old channel video initially. My goodness gracious.
Oh dang.
Jarkey Bacon. He goes back such a long way.
Indeed. We should make an Attack on Titan's finest, shouldn't we, fellas?
Right? What a good idea.
Sounds like a little work.
All right, what would you do your chapter on? This is going off the rails.
I have no idea.
Attack on Titan.
Yeah, you've done.
I know exactly which one it would be.
Oh, okay. Well, is it your favorite one?
Does it have to be your favorite one?
Okay, cool.
Because my Vinland one probably wasn't my favorite overall. It was just a neat opportunity to remake that part of the shitty video. And then I made it shitty anyway. My goodness.
I liked it.
I probably would just do the favorite part, which is the Zeke decapitation. I don't think there's another video that would fit in. But are you going to share with the class EliteAri or just be secretive?
Oh, if I was to choose it, it'd be the chapter 6, the world that she saw, the Mikasa chapter, probably.
Okay.
I've already got a video on Mikasa, but I feel there's a lot.
I was thinking about the early ones, but I already have a video idea for all the early moments. So, but they're all so good. My God, Attack on Titan really fell off after chapter like 20, huh?
Yeah, so true.
True.
Yeah.
So bad.
What the fuck would Bacon do?
I would. Yeah. Do you want me to tell you, or do you want me to keep it a secret?
No, I want to know. I'm too curious.
Okay, so it was going to be whichever chapter has their like final meal together before they go to take back Shinganshina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite scenes.
The one where Levi is looking out, like in the That's Life bit Bacon, that part.
Yeah. That one. Yeah. I may just like broaden it to 2 chapters or whatever, so I can talk about. As long as I can talk about that, because it's just one scene in the episode of the anime, basically, that I want to talk about.
Oh, no anime if we're doing this. That's banned. And no anime in the videos either.
Manga, of course.
Yeah.
A single frame of animation that isn't accompanied by they did it shitter is banned. Did anybody have Vinland Saga anime footage in their thing?
No, wait, before we get... Oh, I have 2 notes on this chapter, all right? Actually, they're not even notes. They're just random questions. So you ready?
I got the answers.
First one. Have we lost the chance? No. Have we lost the chance for a Ivar brothers backstory? Is it still possible we see their backstory?
Oh.
Yeah, before one of them dies tragically.
I feel like the Ganglati, the tree man, Hanging Boy. Okay, so we have Hanging Boy, Helmet Boy, and Sword Boy, right? Yeah. I think Hanging Boy, we need an explanation of why he's here. Like, why have 3 musketeers, instead of 2?
Because in their backstory, they're
I
going to stick
don't-
up for him, and Ivor's going to be the bull-headed one, and Sturk's going to talk his way out of trouble when they're getting beaten up in an alley in London or something. And it's going to be cute, and we're going to like him, and it's going to be right before Sturk dies. But we'll like them all at that point already. I can write Vinland Saga.
I think, I think there's something, because Ganglati has been shown to be deaf and mute, which kind of makes him feel like he's just there. And in this situation, he's necessary because he needs to be hanged from the tree while Sturk's stuck in the ground. So then, like, you can have 2 people for, it's like one, so you can have 1 escalation of violence and 2 escalations of violence, and then Ivor stands up or whatever, so you can build that tension more properly. And like, so that Ganglati he kind of just feels like he doesn't feel like as much of a character, but I think it'd be really interesting if they do tie back to him, like later on, like his whole time, his brother, because he was mute and deaf, he got Viking society wasn't kind to him or whatever, because he has disabilities, and Vinland can be that place where these guys who aren't his biological brothers but still stick up for him because they're like friends and stuff, and they become brothers over time or stuff, and like there's an opportunity there to be like, oh, in this group they actually do have people who need a place like Vinland where they are still useful despite their disabilities and stuff. And I think that could be interesting. I don't know, like, why is there a 3rd character and why is he deaf and mute? I feel like there's a reason for that, unless Yukimura did just want a meat bag to kind of use as a way to navigate certain plot scenarios, which I feel like that's fine, but I feel like you could do it more with that.
I feel like Vinland Saga probably wasn't planned out that much for him to be only for this very specific moment. I'm sure there's a more important backstory reason that's planned out. Yeah.
I think that's much more likely. Yeah.
The fuck, what was I gonna say? I don't know. What was your second question, EliteAri?
My second question. Now, maybe you guys will disagree with this characterization, but we've had a few arcs already, right? And each of them seem to have a climax in like a character moment where you got like the first one is Thor's dying, basically. The second one would be Aslad dying, I guess. And then you got the stuff with Canute at the farm, and then you've got I guess if you're kind of the whole Baltic Sea War stuff together, it'd be the fight with Garm at the end, probably
on the roof.
Yeah, with like Thorfinn embracing Aslad and all that. So then, what do you think for this arc will be like the character moment at the climax of it, or do you think there won't be one? It'll be more of a, like, everything.
Ari, give your opinion. Give like you said this may be controversial. Like, what's your answer to this question?
No, the thing I think is controversial is that that it will end in a character moment. Like, maybe it won't at all. Or maybe the climax will be like a more of a overarching thing, and no one will learn anything. But I don't know, if I was to pick someone, it could be interesting to have Thorfinn and Einar together again, like have them be both at the climax of this, since they've been around for so long that they understand each other the best. I don't know. I don't really know. If it still feels like we're far away from a climax, though, is what I'm thinking. Like, I can't feel like any... I guess Hild is the only one right now who is like, okay, their character is like building up for a climax, but yeah.
Yeah, I think... So how I'd maybe frame this in maybe a different way, because I think, and of course my thinking is it's a similar line, but of course it doesn't fit like cleanly, and I don't think yours like fits perfectly cleanly either. But
yeah,
I see where you're coming from. So there is this big moment, like the prologue. What the prologue's maybe not as easy to put into the box, but my thing was, at least in the farmland, and even the Baltic Sea War, there's a moment where there's a status quo and things are going as they should, and then someone makes a decision that upends that. In the farmland, you have 2 people. You have Arnid going back to Garda, and also Omar in Canute's palace, and those like conjoin like a couple of bad decisions that kind of just flip the script in a way. The prologue kind of has this when Askeladd decides to go and raid Anne's village. It kind of starts the downward spiral of Askeladd. Askeladd has been really successful to this point, and then he decides to get, well, I presumably vengeful at English people and just wants to go raid an English village, and instead of taking a safer and easier route through all of Wales and then the north of Viking territory, he goes through England as a quote unquote shortcut, and then he kind of screws the whole mission, loses his whole band, and then Askeladd has another decision later on to kill the king, of course, which upends the status quo in a way. And then in the Baltic Sea War is kind of Garm just killing Varg, and that decision of an independent party that comes in kind of also upends, like Thorkel was going to fight against Vargan, but now Thorkel's like, oh, I'm just going to fight Floki instead or whatever, and like he joins the forces, and then they choose to, like, then you go have the fight over Jormsburg, and that just kind of makes everything more chaotic because Garm decides to go kill a guy before Thorkel could get to him, and all this stuff. So we kind of have had this decision with Ivar cutting the hand of the shaman, right? But that doesn't mean we can't have two moments like that, and I do think that Hild will have one of those moments, and maybe we'll link into that kind of character moment you're talking about, Ari, where I don't know, like she has to make a choice. People have kind of predicted that she'll be going after him, and then like in the squad, Juju like turns up because she's like the friends with, she's like the apprentice of the shaman, and so she's the only person that's like actually tied to the shaman, and maybe she'll try and convince him otherwise. She'll find him, and then like Hild misses and kills her instead or something, or you never know. Something tragic could happen like
Terrible.
that. Yeah, who knows? I mean, I don't think Hild's decisions are going to be. They're meant to be understandable, but not, condoned by the arc, by the
narrative,
author, I guess. The narrative, yes. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess Hild could be that big character moment. I guess we had this Ivar character moment, right? Like where he, just in this chapter, where he's like, "Oh, I don't hate war," right? But then also Thorfinn could have a big character moment where he's just like, "Am I really gonna have to fight again?" Or like, I don't know. It has to be Hild, right? It has to be Hild. That's a good point.
Thorfinn's gonna die, bro. It's gonna be the moment.
Or it could be the shaman. Yeah.
Nah, Thorfinn's dying, bro.
Yeah.
I honestly have no input. I have no idea.
Yeah, this is good questions. I appreciate the questions, Harry.
Terrible questions. Hated both of them.
Thank you.
What was the first one? I forgot.
Brother's backstory.
Oh yeah, I had a great answer. Right? I fucking called that shit. Is that all we've got? We had an Attack on Titan tangent in there. How long have we been going? We've been going for 48 minutes. That's a pretty good length.
You've been recording?
Yes. Well, I wouldn't have that number there if I wasn't.
Good.
Yep.
Any last minute things? If you, what do they say at weddings? Say now or forever hold your peace. What do they say?
Yeah, that's it. Say now or forever hold your peace.
No, they didn't stumble that word, Bacon. What are you?
I wonder if Yukimura is he's had his like 2 months off or whatever, and now he's confident in the direction he's going, or if he is still unconfident and will get like more breaks or anything. Like I'm very interested.
Yeah, I did have a discussion recently with someone on Discord. And
it was like, Yukimura. I know it. He was talking to me.
Yeah, I'm just talking to him, my buddy. And they were saying, "Oh, is Vinland's not going to end until 2026 or something like that." And I was like, "There's no way.
Jesus.
There's no way it doesn't end until 2026." And I like gave the math, and I'm like, "You need like, if we're getting the maximum amount of chapters I predict, we could get more, but I'd say of reasonable predictions of evidence we have, maximum will be about 220. It would take us 7.5 years. We need to have 7.5, roughly 7.5 chapters a year. Chapters a year to get to 2026, basically, to get to January. Anyway, they made the point that we've only had 3 chapters in the last 6 months. So Yukimura's been taking a lot of breaks, so which is interesting. Though he said he was taking Christmas off,
Sure.
And then in November, I think he also said that he wanted to plan it out. So I think he is doing planning for the final arc. But then in February, he said he didn't like the art, and so he wasn't happy with his output, so he wanted to redo it, which I think is, I think this is all interesting. So yeah, maybe we will have a bi-month. Maybe we'll only get six chapters a year. Yeah, that would be crazy.
Yeah, let him do it. He'll fucking figure it out.
Yeah.
He can take till 2027 if he wants. That was 1 year more than Bacon said.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like if Vinland Saga goes to chapter 230 or 240 as well, I mean, that I'm fine as long as I'm fine as long as Yukimura says what he wants to say and ties up the loose ends. That's the idea. Like I feel like he's done a lot of setup, and now is the time to kind of start bringing it home. And I think I just want him to take his time and finish it off how he likes it, because it's a big deal for him. So it's a mess. It's probably one of the biggest things. It's the biggest thing he's ever done in his career. Trying to finish this manga. So it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Maybe 200 was slightly underwhelming because 300 will be the big one. I can't wait.
Maybe.
Yeah, this is prologue part 2 or something.
Yeah, end of prologue is what it's going to say at the end of this saga, and you're going to be like, what?
Crazy.
But yes, it was Speak Now or Forever Hold Your Peace, by the way. I didn't look it up, I just remembered it. I'll close that tab.
I thought it was or forever hold your peace.
Jesus.
What's G's, EliteAri? You hate
you
marriage? You hate love?
No, you were so confident you got the quote right, and then Bacon just called you out.
I actually did look it up. That was the joke. Then I said I'd close a tab. But I don't know. Maybe Google's wrong. Leave me alone.
Maybe.
But that's what you're going to be doing right now, chat. Forever holding your peace, at least until, I guess you could comment. So what the fuck? That didn't work too well. But disabling comments on this video. You guys all right with that? Just so this gag works out.
Do you know how to do that?
Sure.
Yeah, remember that one time it automatically did that and I couldn't figure out how to turn it on? I figured it out, alright? It's just down there somewhere. You just keep scrolling and you go allow all comments. On default, you don't allow all comments, but some of them get filtered. Didn't know that. Things you learn about YouTube 7 years in, No, we're not Bacon. We're not that old. I think this is an outro. Anything else to say?
Anime good.
Oh yeah,
Manga better.
We're doing an anime thing also on this channel. You can check out every month or so. Bacon's probably got a Vinland Saga video coming out soon. EliteAri probably doesn't.
I guess I should talk about that. It's gonna have a great clickbait title. It's just so good.
If you want to see the clickbait,
I'm hoping it rakes in the
out.
views. I think it has potential to go big. Not big, but bigger than 2K views rather than 1K.
I expect 100,000 in the first month, or I'll be disappointed.
If only Vinland Saga was that big of a manga, I'd be raking it in right now.
I'm sure there's a Vinland Saga video with 100,000. If I got nearly 60K, I'm sure Nuxtaku has a brilliant video about Thorfinn or something.
Oh, I mean, Giguk has on the anime, but on the manga Vinland Saga, I don't know if there's one with 100,000. That's good.
Make a reaction video. Maybe then you'd get 1 million views. That's the real content.
Hill did what?
Big EliteAri face. I saw that face on the OrdinaryAri channel. What a shill that was.
One?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
When
great.
are you gonna be on the? Go Bacon. When's he gonna be on the Vinland Reddit and be making similar pieces, shitting on the said talking points from there?
No, it's too small of a community. I can't target.
You're small, Bacon.
And also, Vinland. We're just having the same conversation over and over. It's like, guys, I think Vinland Saga should end like this, and I really like the anime, and I really hate the anime, and everything in between.
When's Ciclet showing up? My goodness. How come you only did a short on episode 1? Do you think he dropped it?
Yeah.
What a coward.
It's because it got cool to hate on the Vinland Saga adaptation, that's why. So then he was like...
Yeah. He's a conformist, that fella, He just does whatever's popular.
Conformist or contrarian?
No, conformist, because it wasn't cool, so he stopped doing it.
Maybe.
That's probably not what he is, huh?
He's definitely... We're all contrarian in nature.
No, not me.
We all have a little bit of a knee jerk.
I like everything.
This is like Ari's whole personality around AI art. He's like,
no, that's
except,
my
like, in the ground,
personality
my
because I'm on
positions
his
and logic,
side.
right?
EliteAri like studies this shit or
okay,
something.
we probably all somewhat agree on it. I don't think we actually.
No, we're not millering out over
just
here.
But
too
I
much-
don't know.
We just spend too much time on Twitter looking at
Not
horrible
me.
digital talking points.
I'm quitting.
Oh, what a gross misuse of intellectual property. Jesus, I hate those guys.
Yeah, if you're gonna do it like anime, at least make it real anime.
Yeah.
I just got the second battery warning, which means we have to cut this conversation about AI art short for the YouTube audience.
Yeah, don't worry.
For the final
Guys,
time.
AI art is bad. Okay, we all think AI art is bad.
It's not
Please
just
don't
bad;
hate
it's
on us.
illegal.
Yes, it's morally.
Ari is a troll. But we don't have time to go into nuanced conversations. So for the sake of argument, we hate it. We think it's really bad. And go actually buy some arts. You know, all these people defending AI
and
are probably
non-NFTs,
people
right?
who pirate manga and don't actually own copies of Yukimura's manga. So maybe
Yeah, what a
actually
bunch of
support
scumbags.
artists for once. You absolute cretins. How about that?
Cretins. That's some British word, EliteAri. You ever heard that one before?
I have actually, yeah.
Did you guys not
common
use the
word.
word cretin over there?
No,
Not
no.
really.
We don't use it, but
We used to call him a fucking cunt.
Surely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guess what cretin means? It probably doesn't. Probably not far off.
I thought it was like a
do you
creature.
guys have-
Or like a little lizard.
Sorry, what?
I was thinking about a little lizard or a little bug is a cretin.
Do you know what a pillock is? Pillock?
No.
No. Is it a nut?
It's like the same thing. A pillock is just an idiot, stupid
Oh,
person.
okay.
Same thing with a
God.
cretin.
Well, for EliteAri and for Jarkey Bacon and for all the pitlins out there, or whatever the fuck he just said, support
Look.
links in the description below. Thanks.
Thanks.
Whoa.